Chat, what it do, chat? The sidebar quest.
It's the end of an era.
Ooh,
I'm on a quest to be the best, but these quests are on the side. That's not an issue. We gon' make some time. Whoa. Ric Flair once said to be the best, you have to beat the best. We are on a quest. This quest is on the side. I'm on a quest to be the best, but these quests are on the side. That's not an issue. We gon' make some time. Whoa, Ric Flair once said to be the best, you have to beat the best. We are on a quest. This quest is on the side.
man, let's get into it. December 27th, the last aired episode of AEW Rampage.
Quote unquote for the foreseeable future.
For the foreseeable future.
And what an episode it was.
Oof.
Well, I mean, let's just cut to the chase. In all honesty, should we be surprised by this move by AEW?
Mm. I mean, to me, it was kind of surprising. Which show came? This show was before Collision, or was Collision first?
I want to say this one came after Collision. I want to say, but honestly, they came around the same time. I think too. But
But that was so long.
Collision might have
It,
Rampage by a couple weeks. I think.
mm. To some people, they might be looking at the biggest, or like the connection. Okay, Rampage started with CM Punk debut. Now he's not there. It ends. I feel that connect. I just look at the trend though. They've been went away with Dark Elevation, the shows that would did to nurture the more raw talent, potential talent on the roster. So now there's really no development other than, I guess, if some are working within the schools of people that are on the roster, such as Dusty, maybe QT, but there's no real development time now. Everything is strictly television, which should have been Rampage, Collision, and Dynamite. So now there's only two shows. The second, which being on a Saturday night,
Oh, so
Rampage folded on Fridays.
Rampage started August 13th, 2021. Collision started June 17th, 2023.
So Rampage was they came before Collision.
Correct.
Rampage has the better name than Collision. I never even
Collision.
know anybody will sit there and watch Collision. To be honest, like people used to talk about Rampage more than Collision.
I remember Collision was only started on the cusp of Brawl Out. Brawl Out
To
doesn't happen.
separate
There's no
even
Collision.
to separate even more people now, because the idea originally was to have him run Rampage, right, with certain people and stuff, and then things went left. So then he, like you said, they had to do the Collision where he ran that one and had to split the rosters.
And even that didn't work because there was no roster splits because everyone was on the same shows.
Terrible.
And then there was a minute where, or even now, like Rampage was on after SmackDown. Collision was on primetime Saturday nights, so you're either watching college football, UFC, or something else while Collision's on, so you never get to see it. And yeah, just awkward time slots. And I think this was a 2 hour show, if I'm not mistaken.
It came on at 10 after SmackDown. I think it was a 1 hour show.
Either this or Collision. One of them was a 2 hour show, but either way, it's still like you did yourself no favors from the start because
They've had nights where they went 2 hours Rampage. I remember that. They
But one
went
of those,
to midnight over here Eastern time, and I'm like, what are they doing?
but also like you kind of hurt yourselves because whatever happened on Dynamite or Collision was somehow going to be tied in a Rampage and vice versa. So it's like made it a little tricky to keep up with. As Meltzer put, their endless stories because Meltzer believes they have too many stories in AEW. But just post the drama from Cody, Jade, Punk leaving to the other backside stories that did them no favors. I mean, I hate to put it this way, but it's almost like they were doomed from the start. Like, if no one's really willing to put the work in to change the overall landscape and all that, and you're just gonna assume that as long as your buddies are together, everything's gonna be all rainbows and sunshine. That's not the case.
Right. And I think it was a failed experiment on AEW's behalf because, again, they went into making way too many shows. Now, at the point of making Rampage, it was a slick idea, but also
Yeah.
remember, they
Yes.
also
So
had Dark and Elevation.
on YouTube, yeah, look at let's look at that for example. So August 2021, they still had Elevation and Dark on top of Dynamite with Rampage. Year two, you now have 4 shows. That's overkill right there. And then you had Collision, which is a 5th show. 6 shows if you count Ring of Honor. Ultimately, Elevation, Dark go away, but that's still you got rid of the YouTube shows,
I
and you're
feel
still
like
at
you've learned
4 shows
nothing.
already.
Making that move right there is like, I don't know. I'm looking for an analogy or some kind of example I could use, but I guess like if you're investing into stocks or into crypto or something, right? They kind of went head on and threw all their money into something without like, okay, let do the research. Let's invest into this one. And I've never seen WWE, WWF come out with 4 shows on the inception of their first television bro. They still were Monday Night Raw for maybe 10 years before, maybe 15 before SmackDown came out.
Right.
WCW maybe 5 years before Thunder came out.
They had a couple
Three,
years. Yeah, 3, 4 years before Thunder came out,
but their popularity was like, and WCW itself been around, so I don't even blame them. They've been
and
around.
and on that note, I know Dynamite or AEW are using the whole joke that they're gonna last longer than Nitro and WCW ever did. Again, we would hope you do, but we'd also hope that you learn from their mistakes, which you have done, not at any point in time.
Mm,
It's like yes, there's a reason why WCW didn't last as long as it did. There's a reason why ECW didn't last as long as it did. It is what it is. But there's also reasons why Ring of Honor was still around. There's reasons why TNA is still around to this day. MLW, the NWA, is because they were constantly trying to learn from their mistakes. Whereas with AEW, more so with Tony Khan, in the eyes of Meltzer and their loyalists, they can never do anything wrong. We're just jealous of them because they're not WWE. It's like, well, that's not the case. If nothing was going wrong, you wouldn't be filling 10% capacity in a venue that seats 20 to 30,000 people. You wouldn't be getting 1,500 people in your backyard in Jacksonville. There's the reason why, aside from Wembley, Sting's retirement show shouldn't have been the biggest show of your year as far as numbers wise. And let's talk about Wembley. You guys essentially got booted out of there because you guys it it cost more for you guys to get there than to put on the actual show. Now let's look at Australia. You try to get Suncorp Stadium, and now you're at a venue that I don't even think houses 10,000 people or 20,000 people.
mm, 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 mm.
And
AEW, man, they doing it wrong. They doing it all wrong.
what's sad is they have no plans on changing what their do we call it their format, the rest of what do we call it? Their bullshit.
Shit. They're
Do
shit,
they
man.
have
Yeah, it's not even a
they have no
format. It's a
plans on
shit
adapting
match.
or changing it. In their mind, they have all the pieces of the puzzle. Okay, well, figure it out then. But like we've said for many a times, none of these changes actually mean a damn unless Tony Khan does what Vince McMahon would never do, and that's willingly step aside.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe that one man really runs the whole show, and then knowing like Vince really ran it himself, but it wasn't like he ran it himself. He was just finalizing
He had the
certain.
final say over everything.
Yeah, it was just
He
like, nah,
had
I'm
the
not
say
jacking
so
that.
over everything.
Yeah, like if he didn't like what somebody else wrote, but it wasn't like he was sitting there writing every story like himself.
Well, there have been rumors
Like,
that he had rewrote the whole show 10 minutes before shit went on the air.
I mean, then it's also been proofs come say it was on him for no
Yeah,
reason.
but Bruce and even Kevin Dunn and they've always been tied to where they'd always go to bat for Vince no matter how bad shit was. When everyone knew, it's like, no, we know you don't have that kind of pull. We knew it was Vince. Just you don't got to protect him. We know it was him
Man,
because
that's
can't
and
no one
then
make shit move that
no,
fast unless
and
it came
even
from his mouth.
let's say even if that is true, right? Vince did that. I'm pretty sure those episodes weren't even that good where he did that. So it's like
Oh,
again, when it's a one man army, like that's when it's that collaborative effort, we see more some fire shit happen. Okay, when the Shield had writers, when you know what I mean, when Ambrose said, "Oh, I just go out there and read whatever the writers tell me," when there's writers and shit and other people involved.
but again, writers that could be a Bruce Pritchard, could be a Joe Briscoe,
And
could
let's
be a
talk about
Michael
that for a second.
PSAs,
I
could be a
could be
John
wrong.
Laurinaitis.
I could be wrong, but John Moxley to me doesn't cut better promos than Dean Ambrose.
Okay, I've had these discussions for the last couple years, and my response is still the same. AEW John Moxley is nothing like New Japan John Moxley. Two different beings. I don't know if Moxley feels more comfortable in Japan. I don't know if he's more, for lack of a better term, respectful of the Japanese culture and how they conduct their business. But he has a very different cadence and tone in Japan than when he's under Tony Khan's payroll. Don't I don't know why. Maybe it's because they have some structure in Japan to where they have their style running business, but it's night and day. Now, on the topic of the AEW John Moxley, it's an absolute shit show. This
Yeah,
man
I'm
was
not feeling it.
upon leaving WWE was being valued as the guy from the Shield.
I thought
He
he was the
was
best, yeah, like
he
representative
was
at one
the
point.
people again, lack of a better term, the crowd favorite out of him, Seth, and Roman.
At that time when they debuted, he looked the most ready. Like Seth looked kind of young. Roman, you could tell needed work, and
So,
Dean
as I
was
said,
the
wet
one.
behind the ears.
Yeah, Dean looked like that dude. Like, all right, he the
And,
one leading them.
and then when he comes out from that torn tricep, he looks like a damn monster. But again, he has a falling out with Vince, whatever it is, what it is. And it's almost like he's accepted his old habits from the independents, and he's now in that take me as I am mode. And Tony Khan's giving him what, five reigns as the world champion now, something like that.
Yeah. I guess so.
And again, I'll admit during the pandemic, Moxley was their go-to guy. I'm not knocking him for that. But you can also tell there's times where it's almost like Moxley's forced to be out there because whatever Tony says, he's out there gung ho, ready to go, not taking no time off and all that shit. So again, much like with Jericho, if Moxley took a few months off, just chill the fuck out, maybe he'd have a better reception there. But again, much like Jericho, you're constantly spewing shit, whatever, left and right. Apparently, he has full control over this Death Riders gimmick that he's doing in AEW right now, to where all he's got to tell Tony is what he plans on doing for the episode, and Tony lets him do whatever the fuck he wants.
I mean, yeah, because at this point, by default, Moxley's one of his biggest superstars too. But it's like just because somebody got some star power, that don't mean they gotta have the star power, not just
Well,
some star
that's my
power.
point.
Yeah,
That star power is fizzled away. It fizzled away a long time ago. They've even ruined MJF. The only star that may be there is probably Osprey.
and I'm gonna be honest, he got a good like he do nice moves. I'm not taking that away, but I don't know. I just be feeling like, it's just something I don't know, but I feel like he's a little bit like the people's champ. Like the people wanted to gravitate towards him. So, but I don't know. It's just not like this. I haven't really seen you do nothing of significance. Like they tried to hook you up with some looks in AEW, and I think
Mistake
maybe
number
Danny
one was,
Bryan was better, but
I'll say, their first fuck up with Osprey was pairing him with Don Callis, who's a heel. When Osprey was coming as a babyface, that was their first fuck up. Then you fucked up by speedballing the whole stuff with him and Kyle Fletcher. And this past week, or it might have been today actually, they ran it back with Osprey versus Ricochet.
man,
And again, that first match should have been at a one-on-one at a pay-per-view.
I mean they like you said, they when they did the MJF stuff. To me, that immediately they had a great match. But what was the reason for me to want to see it on the pay per view a week or two later?
And then you had the mess with MGF and the Devil. That could have been a great story. Then they chose to piss that away, like nothing ever happened.
MJF come back every 5 minutes.
Um, you essentially ruined Wardlow because you have him squash MGF in a matter of like less than 5 minutes. Everyone thought that this was going to be a Wardlow skyrocket to the world title picture. I don't think he's had a match since then. And that was a couple years ago. Like, Hobbs is getting a title shot tomorrow. Aside from him having that tag match with Ricochet, I don't even know where Hobbs has been at. And again, like, you have AEW just for the men alone on the roster is almost 200 names. If you have a roster of just men alone that deep, how could you not house 3 shows?
Incredible.
You claim to have the best women on the roster. Okay, Willow's got potential. Chris Statlander's got potential. I don't know how you fucked up Camille so bad, but you have some very promising names on your payroll, and you
I be thinking sometimes that there's like it could either be two things that causes for this idiotic behavior. It's either people are really like they really evil to the point where they just low key acting like they want these free agent superstars, but they just really want to keep them away from the competition. Like,
Well, that's that the latter is what it's become
yeah, like
because because like I said, look at the Buddy Murphy situation from earlier this year. Even Malachi Black, they wanted out of their contracts, and Tony Khan essentially paid them and allegedly begged them to not leave. And to now he's adding injury time to folks, putting folks on ice, icing them out, trying to kill any stock they have so they don't go to WWE or anywhere else. And it's like this is the reason why we despise Vince as much as we did, and you're doing the same shit.
I'm
We
gonna
didn't
keep it.
like it when Vince did it, so what makes you so special?
Yeah,
But again, like I said before, until Tony Khan steps down willingly, AEW it, they're gonna need a fuckload of work to turn things around. But again, nothing starts unless
I'm gonna
Or
be
you
honest.
you won't know what you have unless Tony's out of the picture.
I think Tony's worse than Vince McMahon for doing it because at least I feel like you know what you're getting with working with the devil being Vince McMahon. Like you know
Right.
he's an ultimate businessman and that's all he's really thinking about. He wants a return on his investment. Like and we know he gonna keep people away from the competition. But when you acting like you for the people and then you slowly becoming not for the people, that's even uglier.
On that topic, there's a loud rumor going around that the Jacksonville Jaguars fan base are demanding that Shad Khan fire Tony Khan of his NFL responsibilities
Mm,
because going in at the draft when Tony had the neck brace on, without
really?
even without even batting an eye, he went out and said, "This is the greatest roster the Jacksonville Jaguars have had in franchise history. They are one of, if not, they're probably top three of the worst NFL teams in the NFL right now." But
See,
you
I ain't gonna
had,
lie.
yeah, Tony
Tony
Khan,
Khan,
the chief
yeah.
strategist or whatever the fuck his title is. It's a VP title,
Nah, he's
but
really one of those people that like I've seen this shit before. All the motivational videos where you gotta speak yourself into existence and kind of like create this delusional world where everything is fine when it's really not. Like I get it, and
but when you've been preaching the same bullshit for plus years and there's been no progressive improvement on the positive side, eventually people are gonna say you're full of shit. So
mm-hmm,
The Jaguars saying that now in the NFL, and some of your most diehard fans are starting to believe that now with AEW.
mm-hmm.
And like we said ad nauseum, between if you want Jericho to be a VP, great, just have him hang up the boots, fine, or have him do some legit part time stuff. But also you have Jeff Jarrett, you have Taz, Dustin Rhodes just re-signed. You still got Jim Ross.
I'm not gonna
You have a
lie.
wealth of experience right there in those names alone, and your shit's still ass.
His father's soft low key because even Vince McMahon fired Shane McMahon, packed him up, get out of here for trying to do that Royal Rumble stuff. Somebody need to put Tony Khan in check. And it starts if his father's really the reason why he got all this money to continue to do what that's where the problem starts. Somebody need
And
to cut this man off at the bar. He done had one too many.
yeah, and like I said, no one's gonna do that.
Mm-mm.
Like you see all these folks that are demanding WBT release all of their active NDAs. Do the same thing with Tony Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Let CM Punk and Kenny Omega talk about what happened at Brawl Out. If Kylie Ray got something to say about Jericho, let her say it.
Mm-hmm.
If Rebby Hardy got something to say about how the hardest were used in AEW, let her say it.
Don't throw stones.
Now, granted, no one's perfect, but it's like if you're gonna throw India left and right, now like I said, we all know Vince was far from a saint, and we had hoped that Tony was gonna be different than that. We hoped he's gonna be better, and so far he's fallen down those same habits that Vince had.
And again, the thing that makes it harder for me to accept, it made it like Vince poked his chest out and kind of gave us the like, I'm that man attitude. Tony Khan is trying to like act like he's one of us. That's the problem. And you might be one of us on a fan level, but you're not really like, you know what I'm saying?
You're not a businessman.
Yes, you're not equipped to be doing this, bro.
And like I said, with Vince, like a lot of folks respected him because again, Vince stood on his business. Whether he was right or wrong, he just stood by his word. And a lot of folks
Hmm.
respect him for it. Where in Tony's case, it's like you could cuss him out to where he's in tears. He'll just suspend you for a week of TV.
Motherfucker, like, I don't know. Motherfucker that like criticized all the shit WWE done did, like you said, done did himself.
And also, do you watch Conrad talks with Eric Bischoff on occasion?
Yeah, on occasions I do.
So, Conrad recently brought this topic that now Conrad, he's a very devout AEW fan. Like he wants them to succeed because, like many of us, if they succeed, that's good for everybody. There's more stuff to watch. There's more content for us to produce. As they say, more work for the boys and girls.
Hmm.
Simple formula. But again, like one of the topics that he kind of talked with Bischoff was a lot of folks are talking about how AEW is in that WCW 2000 negative limbo, and Connor's thinking about like if you think about it, they already had that shit.
Hmm.
That's when Cody left. That's when Jade left, and nothing's kind of recovered ever since all that happened. And again, if should they ever get a 30 for 30, this is gonna be a sad 30 for 30 because it's like we're gonna sit back and go, oh, what could have been now wasted.
And sometimes, you know what's even sad, like what you saying right there. Part of me, like, I want AEW to succeed too, but if it's gonna end, I'd rather like it end sooner than later, just to hear these stories. Like, I'm more fascinated by the stories than this teeth pulling process that I feel like is going on with them.
And again, that's just a testament to their sad history. Now, again, they've had some shredded good. I'm not going to sell them short. They've had their moments of glimmer and all that, but they've also had moments to where you just look at them and go, "What in God's name were you thinking?"
See,
And
but
again, it's either Tony steps away willingly, or Shad Khan says, "Hey, I'm cutting you off of your inheritance fund. What you got left is all you got left."
I think
But
in a
until
world, I
but
think in a world where like AEW was succeeding, it was only because people were like running away from home, so to speak, with WWE. Like
that makes
it,
sense.
yeah, and then now everything's right at home, so we kind of back, and it's kind of like sometimes I be feeling like low key AEW was doing the same shit that they was doing when they was at the top. It's just it's not the same circumstance.
Different circumstances. The overall vibe is different.
Yeah, like think about it. Like their first champion was Jericho, a 50-year-old man. Nobody cared. Why?
Well,
Because we wanted to hate WWE so bad. No, I'm
in
just saying,
the,
put things in perspective though. Like, just for real, they talk like the whole talk about is how WWE use older guys and this and that. Your first champion was Chris Jericho. a former WWE guy, not even an AEW or indie darling, none of that. But we didn't care because it was like, all right, fuck it. The revolt against WWE has begun.
Well, again, their second world champion, or was second or third, either way, again, former WWE champion in Moxley.
Hmm. Again, going to the same. That's their chance to be different and say, you know what, we're gonna develop people and not to shit on them, but like, if you guys, Moxley, Jericho, y'all want this to work, help us put over these newer talents to show we not just gonna hire former WWE talent and they gonna come over here and you know what I mean? Even because they
But
try.
then again, when they did that, we got the likes of Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Daniel Garcia, MJF, Wardlow. You go on and on.
Hmm.
There was
But that,
times where the fans wanted them to pop off and all that, and what did Tony do? Hire more WWE guys.
and that's what I'm saying. That's the problem though, and it was still being kind of accepted by their hawk the people that really realize we noticed the shit that's going on. Like, hold on, what are you doing? Like,
But in their minds, oh, we got the game changer.
yeah,
Yeah, Claudio Castagnoli, the game changer, who gave AEW their lowest rating in company history for a Dynamite.
and this is their ROH, well, former ROH world champion for them.
But again, in a main event, got the crowd in the 400K range. Dynamite has never seen 400K before until Claudio got in the main event.
Mm.
There was a time where, I don't know if it's still the case, but when Jericho would be in a segment, that following segment was guaranteed to lose 100,000 people. The Young Bucks, anytime they were on TV, they'd piss away 150,000 people in 15 minutes.
Man,
People change the channel when Mercedes is on the microphone. Now, there's some loyalists that claim that Mercedes is doing the greatest work of her career. I strongly beg to differ, but that's just my opinion.
the best work is insane.
So you mean to tell me that in a match that where Chris Statlander carried her, almost everyone that she's been in the ring with in AEW, Mercedes has been carried, and her finisher is the drizzling shits. But you can tell me all that stuff is better than Brooklyn 2 against Bailey, the Raw main event against Charlotte Flair, the main event Mania match against Bianca. Those three matches pale in comparison to what she's doing in AEW? Fuck no.
Did you watch the Mufasa movie?
I have not yet. I heard it's really good.
I feel like the reason I'm bringing it up, like, I feel like maybe not a good comparison, but just watching it made me think about like how the characters were and how the stories were told. And some of these wrestlers are like how the two lions were in the movie, the kids of Mufasa and Taka. So like Mufasa, he just had it, bro. No matter where he went, he had it. And the other brother, Scar, he had to like everybody had to like it was always so it was always like kind of given, and I feel like that's how it is with some of these wrestlers got it, and some of them need the formula. In AEW, that shit is kind of like all over the place. Ain't no formula. You think you want to do it your way, and sometimes with people, that's how you fuck up. Cause you could have been doing it your way all along, but you started with the WWE help.
under their system. Like it's rare to do what Cody Rhodes did, to do what a Drew McIntyre did, reinvent themselves outside. A few others that we done named, but a lot of people think they gonna leave. Just and again, you making a remix of what WWE made you. You're not full fledged turning into something unrecognizable. Like you know what I'm saying?
Now there is hope for a Hurt Syndicate with what they've been doing. There is
I'm
hope for them. Is but again,
I've always been
MVP's got to
saying they money.
MVP's got to step to Tony Khan and say no. You hired me to do my job, so respectfully get the hell out of my way.
I'm gonna be real. The only one that feels forced in that group and always did was Shelton Benjamin. But I charged it to the game because I felt like he came in with them like he been in there just as long as they have, so it makes sense. But his personality though, I'm be real. Like to me, when he try to talk, it feel like he not even being himself. Like,
This seems very similar to what Shelton was doing back in Japan. Somewhat similar, to where he's just the silent killer. Yeah, he can step to you and talk your ear off if he wants to, but all his talking is with the fists.
hmm
But like I said, with them three, they're probably one of the very few saving graces to try to help change that culture and regulate that culture. But again, like Tony got to leave shit alone.
I mean, they could have really positioned themselves to be like the Evolution, like like Flair, Triple H, like they almost got that same setup where like you got MVP who could be like the Flair for them. Bobby Lashley could be like the Triple H. Shelton Benjamin could be like the Tista,
See
and
now,
then
if that were the case, then Bobby should already have gold. Bobby should have beaten Swerve for the gold, and then Shelton should be in the finals for the C2 or something like that.
feel me. Then they just gotta find a young Randall Keith Orton. They're looking like Ricochet gonna be they man. I don't know.
Nah, you didn't see it happen on Dynamite,
Nah.
huh? So long story short, MVP tells Ricochet, "You still got my card." As he pulls it out, Lashley Dander gives Ricochet. Remember that little like bicycle thing that Great Khali used to do when he would like squeeze everyone's head like it's like a fruit or whatever?
Yeah.
He did something like that to where he held Ricochet's head, and if he tells Ricochet, "No one likes a kiss ass," and rips up the card, and then tells him, "Get out of the ring." Then Ricochet bows out like a little bitch.
So I'm saying it. I mean, he might join them.
You got a better chance of convincing me that Leo Rush is gonna get back with Bobby Lashley.
Man, how like they just basically bitched them into the group. Instead of jumping them, they ain't had to jump them.
Now, all jokes aside, it would have been very interesting to see either, preferably maybe Private Party, but yeah, them or Top Flight to join her syndicate. I say a Private Party more only because they got that little hood New York City in them to where just put them in all black gear, give them the black Tim, something like that, to where they just act a little street, whatever. That might be a good fit for them.
They definitely need some seriousness to them. I'm not gonna lie, like all of the like I understand it has to be baby faces, but they just too soft sometimes them. Like they need to be a little bit more aggressive. They come across
But too nice.
too nice for real. Like y'all need to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like
So, as far as personality wise, and I mean this with all love in the world, they need that Eddie Kingston vibe in them.
that, or dare I say even the Matt Riddle, like you see how Matt Riddle was just cool without
Mm-hmm.
being so inviting. It was just like, yeah, like I'm cool.
Very
You know
very
you want to be
stoic.
like cool. Yeah. Like they don't. It's like you're trying to be cool. Like show us why you want to be at the party. Like the last
And mind you, Private
promo.
Party, these are the AEW Tag Team Champions right now.
Yeah. I feel
And
like they
that's
put the championships on them at a weird time though. Like when I was really like, oh, this is a cool tag team. Maybe put a they just kind at a time where it was kind of random. Like why they the champions now? What they did to like what steam they got? Like I didn't under. Yeah, y'all beefed with the Young Bucks and all. I didn't understand the
now
comeuppance.
there was no reason for them to have like a 4 or 5 match series because yes, the Bucks were Private Party's first, that basically their debut match in AEW. I get that part. When they ran it back, when Bucks had to get the run back, there was no need for that.
Yeah,
And then you got whatever bullshit the Acclaim's doing, which I think they're going to split them up pretty soon. I would hope.
yeah, they're another team that's on the weird.
I'm of the belief that at this point, from what I've seen, it's it's got to get dismantled because Caster is just that unsufferable on the microphone and in the ring.
You like Cassie, you said?
I can't fucking stand him. Like I'd rather watch Santino Marella just dance around do the Cobra than watch fucking Max Caster. I'd rather watch some of Vince McMahon's old bullshit than watch Max Caster.
That's another one that I felt like circumstance. He knew the right thing when it was convenient to say it about people like Vince. He would say little one headliners about get the crowd going. After all that fizzled out though, he started trying to keep saying other controversial shit that ain't really hit. Kind of wore out his welcome.
And again, that comes down to Tony being a boss. You gotta regulate sometimes. You can't be everybody's best friend.
Hmm. That whole situation just amazes me, like, cause I could only imagine that there's no scenario where in my mind they're making back way more money than they're spending. Like, okay, let's say even if they're making a profit, I don't see how it's much.
And here's the thing: they're probably making back. I would probably guess maybe 10% of what they're spending, which is peanuts.
Like, again, to compare, WWE found a way to cut back on their production costs. They stopped doing all that. I didn't even know it costed them money, but again, everything's not free. The shit that they used to put on the screen during wrestlers' entrances, remember that augmented reality? Like they're even saving money on little things that's like, you know what? We don't even need this anymore. We could just
But
and that
I
and that
think
shit
I
was a
think what the
Vince thing.
big change for WWE was them being okay with the fact that hey, they don't have to cash on anybody if that somebody is going to feel forced to be here. So they're okay with letting folks walk with everybody else.
Hmm.
If you want that big money, okay, you got to put the work in and earn it.
And it's kind of like
And
that's
then
how any
also,
business should be ran.
if you are to leave and you want to come back, hey, you left on iffy terms last time. So again, you have to put some work in to earn your cred back. And that's when folks get a little pissy and butthurt. They're like, well, they're offering me this much money. Okay, well, go sign with
Nah,
them then.
I think it's situational though. I mean, like the ultimate nice. boss would, but like bosses ain't like when I look at tendencies, bosses ain't there to be. They're like a parent. They're not really. They got a job to do. They're not there to really be best friends with the employees and all that shit.
Exactly.
So it's a real tough line. I just think that a lot of the superstars, in my opinion, should be grateful. Like maybe it would have worked better in the Undertaker's favor if he wasn't so loyal and went somewhere else. Maybe it would have not worked though. What he said he tried to that he said that was him with them snakeskin pants against Kurt
Yeah.
Angle. That was him. Vince ain't make him put those pants on.
Nah, he put him on because his other gear wasn't nowhere to be found.
So he went with those, like fuck it.
We hear, and Vince said, "Don't ever do it again." And Taker watches the match back. Yes, sir, boss. I'll never do that ever again.
Like sometimes if you leave it up to people, even on short notice, you just do some funky shit. Like you couldn't not even found some black Jones, the snakeskins, the
Well, you
snakeskins.
have to think at that time, who else there is his size?
He thought them shits was gonna be fly with that American badass character. He thought those shits was it.
Hey, step out of the club they might be at.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, on another setting, that shit definitely probably hit. But in that wrestling environment, it was just like it was weird to see him in. A lot of people, you know what I mean? I firmly believe that too. Like a lot of like NIL talent that come into the WWE now. I'll be damned if they talk about in a few years, yo, I want to leave here. I'm not getting no opportunity. What? I
Well,
wish AEW would have showed you this. What you mean you don't want to be here? Matter of fact, you know what? You right. Cool. But they did the ricochet, had him get smacked off that production truck, back of his head on the concrete floor. We got you. And you get put through the glass car on the car too. We got you. Don't worry. You go.
I'm still saying like had Mr. Ricochet here never left, he might be IC champion right now.
That was a good program he was in. I'm beyond. He was just starting to get that
It was
toughness in
just
his
getting
character.
good.
Yeah.
And allegedly Samantha kind of regrets leaving, but we'll see what happens in a year or two.
Her case is
But
a little different, but I feel like she was riding with her man. But I mean, I'm pretty sure Renee Paquette feels a little just like she be looking like like she don't even know what's going on. Sometimes when she's
there's times where she looks completely uncomfortable with some of the promo segments.
yeah, like
Like this what we're doing over here?
and then I know it's bad when I really never used to see her botching WWE. Like I really felt like she was on point with them. Over here, I be seeing her getting shit wrong, getting the name of
Getting
events wrong.
flustered.
Yeah, like it's not like she even taking that shit serious. That's just an observation. It's not even like I'm trying to pick on her. No, it's just like yeah, she was even way better. Even the way she was presented was way better in WWE.
I'm still wrapping my head around. I want to say the time of the draft when Triple H made that. Remember months ago, Triple H made that statement about folks that are running from the grind,
Yeah, that's true. People be
and
trying to say it's not true. That shit is
Osprey
true.
Osprey cut that promo of I didn't have to sleep with the boss's daughter to get to be in charge. Just watch that video back. Just look at Renee's face, like what the fuck are we doing?
Mm. Cause what we always say, like perception is everything, right? So it's like you see who and you start to think everybody's in on this. Oh, word? Y'all all
And
knew what he was about to say?
and it's like not even that. Like We all cool with this?
Right. Nah, cause any fucking Mark would have like been happy when that shit was said and laughing and oh, you heard what he just said? When he said that, I ain't gonna lie, I was surprised. I was like, damn. I was like, that's the first thing. Cause I'm okay with the shot, but sometimes we know what they do out there is entertainment and the act. Sometimes they be talking like they really want some kind of smoke sometimes, right? So it'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
now you can't be mad when all these angles are created, people got their opinions, and then people say shit. You know what I mean? Like, I personally think though, like Triple A, I mean, I don't know who that line was towards, but even if they don't go um traveling around the world per se at that time, 'cause I think they travel around the world now. But I think the grind was more than just travel. I think the grind was a mindset.
Like
Going
Flair and
through
Hook
what goes
famously
on in
said,
WWE.
they were on the road 320 days out of the year, usually twice on Sundays. You're home for a day just to catch up on bills and laundry, and you're right back on the road.
Hmm.
And now they're doing less and less house shows. So,
That's what I'm saying. Like Osprey tried to make it seem like the amount of time he spent on flights equals up to the grind that these dudes do on a year driving to city and
and
this
Osprey's
like.
likely flying first class.
And I'm not gonna lie, as a person that drive, I personally don't like driving after doing either after being tired for a few hours or like I can imagine they just did a physical activity and been up for a few hours. You know what I'm saying? Like if they driving themselves, sometimes they got sprinter buses, so that's much lighter on them. But if you're a talent that got to drive yourself from city to city or whatever the case may be, it's tough.
Right.
And even if
But again,
I think even if not, even if you're not traveling, that's part of a grind. I think the grind itself is just like getting to get the opportunity you looking for. That's the grind for everybody. No matter if you traveling or not. Traveling just because it could be convenient or it could be an expense, depending who you are, where you at.
exactly.
Like, is the grind that much more for somebody that lives where the promotion is based from versus the person that got to travel? It might
Like,
be, but it's part of it if you want this opportunity.
and also with Osprey, it's like you fly first class from England to wherever they're going to fly at. So at max, maybe 8 to 10 hours in the air. I get that that could be a lot, but you do that every few weeks, first class, mind you, and you're wrestling what once every what 2 3 weeks, just once.
Just once.
The tours in Japan were worse than that, but I mean,
And now at that rate, you can like kind of manipulate the schedule because like you could take on like if you're not contracted to one company, you could take on all these indie dates and be like, oh yeah, look at all the places I'm going and stuff like that. But it's not really grinding, but your name, you grinding your name. But like if it's not leading you to a certain specific thing, it's just like that's like a routine you created for
another
yourself
day at the
almost.
office.
Yeah, another day at the office. You just lined up a bunch of dates, you fulfilling dates. It's kind of like almost like that rhythm Matt Cardona got himself into.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Osprey's probably got a contract similar to maybe Okada to where they're being paid so much money and they're not permitted to go anywhere unless Tony authorizes it in advance, which is smart for once because in the early AW days, what Moxley would do like one episode of Dynamite and then 4 or 5 shows for GCW that same week.
And then what don't make sense to me, what never made sense to me, is the notion of AEW is a major playing field. Like their money is major, but your prestige is not major to me. The fact that people would rather
I
be
wouldn't go
on
as far as I
AEW,
wouldn't go as far as say the money's major.
it might not be at this point. It seemed like it at one point, like they could just get anybody they wanted.
I mean, you can get anyone you want, but again, it's one of those things like say you and I sign with All Elite Wrestling. One thing that I would ask Tony is, okay, well, how is me being here going to benefit my career?
And the comfortable answer for some, if they're allowed to work other places, then it's a go. If you got to be stuck on NXT and just NXT and work your way up, that's the grind people be running from sometimes.
Well, but also with that response, if 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 I gotta work dates with other people, then I told Tony, well, why sign with you when I can just do that anyways?
Mhm.
You see where I'm going with this?
Mhm. But it questions, why do people sign with AEW? Like there got to be something that there's like a fucking a dragon they're chasing, or I don't know, like somebody gets a real nice gift on the side, nice Rolex, a nice little expensive something.
Again, it must be one hell of a signing bonus.
For real, cause I don't understand. Like if you could see, the only person that it makes sense for is like maybe like Bobby Lashley. Like them dudes give me the vibes of like, bro, we gonna come in here, this shit going down. We gonna turn this into our house. But anybody else that was like Ricochet, that felt like I just don't see. I don't see it. How you go to the ship that's sinking and you willingly want to go over there when you could go to somewhere else like TNA or New Japan, places that are just
Now
regular
with
chilling.
folks like Lashley, Shelton MVP, even the Dustin Rhodes, if you gonna milk the billionaire for his money as you ride off into the sunset, that's one thing. For other folks who got probably 10, 15, maybe 20 years to devote to the business, a whole different conversation.
And you wasting your prime years over here. It's not like, all right, these are the last five out of the like, no, these are the first five good ones you wasting over here after your contract already expired and you chose to re-sign with them again. What are you doing? It made no sense. Like, okay, the first 5 years already passed of AEW. The young superstars should have been got these shits. They popularity they built and skedaddle while this ship is down. Ain't no reason. And then I don't know. I don't get it.
Ring of Honor has a, a talented female by the name of Billy Starks. She's not even 21 years old yet, and she's just there. So in her aspect, where she hasn't even come close to her prime yet. Imagine she's in the PC or in somewhere else just honing her craft.
Yeah.
But what's funny is a lot of these talents from AEW, you know who they go train with realistically?
Who?
Natalia.
Mm.
They all go to her and TG down in Florida to go train. But
Yeah, I
like I
don't know.
said,
They got this. They got to figure it out because they lost Rampage. I feel like Collision is next, and
like I said,
if,
they lost the Fox deal months after it started. In a couple years' time, at any point, Warner Brothers can pull Dynamite off of Max, saying we're done wasting our money. That's nothing. Like, who knows how much Warner Brothers actually owns of All Elite Wrestling? uh,
I want to know the exact like. I gotta look into this, but I want to know how much does it take to keep something on a streaming service? Like, does it run any kind of memory? Because like, all right, my thing is, you see how on YouTube they don't charge us to upload to YouTube. We could
right.
just go on YouTube and just upload. Does it is it really hurting Max to keep AEW on there even if nobody's watching it?
Again, I'm sure they would get just like with cable. I would assume with streaming that the certain producers would get a cut of whatever the streaming numbers are, whether it's a VOD or a live feed. And
Right.
like I said, look how quick Netflix and Amazon Prime pull shows off after like 1 or 2 seasons. It's not an uncommon thing. So if stuff gets a X amount of negative publicity, or if it's not pulling in the numbers that such as they agreed they would put up, then they'll probably say, "Well, why bother?" Because again, like I said, the reason why the AW stuff on Fox and Mexico got pulled is because Fox and Mexico flat out said these numbers are not up to par. So
Right, because
like
when
the
I'm thinking about Netflix shows, a lot of the times that like what was like Luke Cage or any of these shows were canceled, it'd probably be either some controversy or the actor wanted more money. That's why I was like, at this point with Monday Night Raw, they got them locked for 5 years, right? Now AEW, I don't know how long they locked for, but like if nobody's gonna require more money out of them, what's the incentive for these platforms to really care the viewership?
well this
All it
this
could hurt
current
is the
contract I think
yeah.
is yeah this current contract I think is 3 to 5 years.
All it could hurt is the product itself when it come back to the negotiation table. Like if Monday Night Raw's in the end of this deal didn't live up to the numbers, then that could probably hurt them going forward.
Or like I said, they could check month to month or year to year trend records, and then if they see that less and less people are watching, or if it's say it could be a steady number, but the number is not really growing, then in theory that they're not making max any money.
Mm-hmm.
Or say maybe if there's say once they go live January 1st or whatever, or whenever the first pay per view for on Max is going to be, say it does no more than what the average pay per view does. Say it does less than what their pay per view buys are, then
I'm not
they
gonna
can look
lie.
at that.
It's so sad. AEW wouldn't even care. They'll probably be on Tubi, one of them free apps.
If Tony's still paying for everything, probably
Man. And I say that to say that there would be no changes made. He would continue on like they didn't get dropped from their label.
right. And it'll be like nothing ever happened. And even if shit goes south with Max, he'll say, "Oh, we had a great partnership. Everything is just great."
Everything is great. Oh man.
But again, like I said, until he steps away, either forcefully or willingly, we'll never see what actual potential is salvageable there. So far, we can name two acts: Osprey and Hurt Syndicate. Everything else is legitimately up in the air, or they've already fizzled out.
Yeah. I can't tell you anything else going on over there.
Which again, it's a shame because there's so much talent there. There's so much wisdom in that could and should be helping, but you got the wrong people in certain positions of power, and that's been proven over the last 5 years. And the ratings numbers will tell you straight up.
Mm.
Like Meltzer can blame random TV shows, every sporting event under the sun, as to why the Dynamite numbers suck this year. But again, let's look at their shows from last year. Same stuff that's on, but Dynamite, for example, was doing 300,000 people, had more people watching. What's changed from this year to now? Well, the shit sucks now, and it's getting to a point to where it's like they're not even trying.
Yeah, that shit is. Can't even say they. He's not even trying.
Because if you and I go live tomorrow and when we're gonna still need to badmouth AEW for a couple hours, which seems like that might be what the move is. It's like something stupid's gonna happen. About half the card's gonna be absolutely worthless and does nothing for the overall pay per view, and it'll feel like an extended glorified Dynamite.
Hmm. I mean, their last pay per view that we watched wasn't too lit, so
The last one was dog shit.
yeah,
I fell asleep during like the first like 2 hours of it.
I don't expect nothing. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, thank you, Tony, for taking my $50. Yes, as I'm looking at the card for Worlds in tomorrow, the only match that I have any interest in seeing is Takeshita versus Hobbs. Like
Okay.
I don't really care about Osprey and Fletcher. It'll be fine. I can give two fucks about MJF and Adam Cole. I can give two fucks about Okada and Ricochet. I don't give a rat's ass about the Fatal 4-Way main event. Like
Well, we shall see what AEW has in store. Nah, I mean, we gonna leave it there. We done bring them 2 hours of the sidebar quest. So, I mean, listen, it's been a good one, Chav. Y'all been here for the long form. We appreciate y'all being here. Y'all been stopped by for the last short form of the AEW Rampage getting canceled. We appreciate y'all too. Letting us know what y'all think about AEW. Where y'all stand with them.
the
What's
good, the
going
bad, and
on?
the ugly. We here for it all.
Yes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let us know what do y'all think they should do with themselves. Let us know, chat.
We gotta talk about it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The cheers, the jeers, and trucking. Watching, keeping the eye for the truest skill. And at the same time, entertaining the rumor wheel. We love this sport, content must go on. And welcome in our thoughts because it's our job. When it's off the hip, travel sidebar quest. Yeah, you know the rest. I'm on a quest to be the best. But these quests are on the side. That's not an issue, we gon' make some time. Whoa, Ric Flair once said to be the best, you have to beat the best. We are on a quest, this quest is on the side.